Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'd love it if you could leave a comment letting me know where you're listening from around the world. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this video. Story 1. I've camped my whole life. Real camping. Not those neat little campsites with bathrooms and lanterns and people coughing in the dark. I mean, woods so deep you forget what engines sound like. Woods that teach you the difference between silence and quiet. I know what the forest sounds like when it's alive. That night, it sounded like nothing at all. Omar and I had driven 4 hours north to reach that place. No trail markers, no campground signs, just a thin dirt road that ended without warning, like someone had gotten bored and quit halfway through drawing the map. We parked, shouldered our packs, and hiked another mile until the trees swallowed us whole. We set up near a creek. That felt important. Water usually means comfort, safety, a kind of background reassurance that the world is still working. We made instant coffee over a small fire and joked about stupid things, old college stories, work drama, the kind of talk people use to convince themselves everything is normal. The forest listened without comment. By midnight, the fire burned down to coals. We crawled into the tent. The creek murmured. Bugs hummed. Leaves whispered overhead. Alive. Breathing. Normal. At 1:30 a.m., my eyes snapped open. No dream pulled me out. No noise. No nightmare clawing at my chest. Just that feeling. The one you get when you walk into a room and know, somehow, that a conversation has just stopped. I lay there, listening. Nothing. No wind brushing the tent walls. No insects. No frogs. No distant owls. The creek, 10 feet away, was silent. Not frozen. Not dried up. Just quiet. Like someone had put their hand over its mouth. The silence pressed against my ears until they rang. It felt thick, almost physical, like I could reach out and scoop it up. Omar, I whispered. No answer. I sat up slowly, afraid the sound of my own movement would crack whatever fragile thing was holding the night together. That's when I smelled it. Wet metal. Not rot. Not smoke. Not animal musk. Wet metal. Sharp and cold, like blood diluted by rain. My stomach tightened. I reached for the zipper and pulled it down inch by inch, each tiny rasp sounding too loud in the dead air. The forest waited. Moonlight spilled across the trees, but something was wrong with it. The shadows didn't stretch naturally. The trunks looked flat, like stage props painted by someone who had only heard trees described secondhand. No depth, no sway, no life. And between two trees, about 30 feet away, something stood. It was tall. Not bear tall. Not moose tall. Wrong tall. Its shape suggested a person, but only in the loosest sense, like a memory that had lost important details. The arms hung too long. The shoulders sloped strangely. Its head looked like it had been placed there as an afterthought. It didn't move. It didn't breathe. It just swayed slightly, side to side, as if the forest itself were rocking it, trying to soothe it into remembering how to stand. I slammed the zipper shut and grabbed Omar's shoulder. "Wake up," I hissed. He jolted upright, eyes wide, already afraid. "Don't look again," he whispered. I froze. "I didn't tell you anything," I said. He swallowed hard. "I know." Footsteps circled the tent. Not heavy, not clumsy. No crunch of leaves or snap of twigs. Soft, deliberate, like someone walking barefoot on memory instead of ground. One slow circle, then another. My heart hammered, so hard I was sure it would hear me. The steps stopped right outside my side of the tent. The fabric dimmed as something blocked the moonlight. A shadow appeared, its head tilted, bending at an angle that made my neck ache just watching it. Then it leaned closer. The tent wall pressed inward slightly, and it sniffed, long curious, hungry. The smell of wet metal filled the tent. Omar clutched my arm, so hard his nails broke skin. Neither of us moved. Neither of us breathed. The world felt paused, like someone had taken their finger off the play button and forgotten to put it back. Eventually, slowly, the pressure eased. The shadow retreated. The footsteps moved away, fading into nothing. The silence stayed. We didn't sleep. We sat there until dawn, counting heartbeats, afraid that even blinking might call it back. When the first light crept through the trees, the forest came alive all at once. Birds screamed. Wind rushed through branches. The creek roared like it had never stopped flowing at all. Everything normal. Too normal. We stepped outside. No footprints. No broken branches. No disturbed leaves. Nothing to prove the night had happened. Except the tent. The fabric around my side was darkened, stained, and no matter how many times I washed it, no matter what soap I used, it smelled like wet metal. For weeks. Sometimes late at night, when the house is quiet and the world feels thin, I still wake up at 1:30 a.m. And for just a second, everything goes flat again. Story 2. I went camping because I couldn't stand being indoors anymore. After the breakup, my apartment felt like it was shrinking. The walls knew too much. Every object reminded me of her. Her mug, her blanket, the dent in the couch where she used to curl up. I needed space. Real space. Trees. Dirt. Silence. So I drove 6 hours north and parked at a trailhead that didn't even have a sign. Just a clearing and an old wooden post with faded orange paint. I hiked in until my legs burned, then kept going a little longer. One tent, one fire, one knife clipped to my belt. No fear. That's what I told myself. The first night was calm. Too calm, but I didn't recognize that yet. The fire crackled low. The woods whispered the way they always do. Insects, leaves, distant wind. I slept hard, the kind of sleep you fall into when you're exhausted from pretending you're fine. When I woke up, the fire was dead and the light was thin and gray. Morning light. My boots weren't in the tent. That should have bothered me more than it did. I stepped outside barefoot, half asleep, and saw them placed neatly side by side near the fire pit. Laces tucked in, toes pointing toward the woods. I stood there for a long time, staring at them. I told myself I'd move them. Maybe I'd taken them off by the fire. Maybe I was just more tired than I thought. I made coffee. I ate. I packed my head full of excuses. The day passed quietly. No other hikers. No voices. No distant engines. Just trees and sky and the feeling of being very, very alone. That night, I hung my food bag from a tree and tied a small bell to the rope. Raccoons were common out here. Bears too, supposedly. I want to sleep with a knife next to my hand. At 3:12 a.m., the bell rang. Once. Just a single, clean ding. Then nothing. I opened my eyes and waited for the follow-up. The frantic ringing, the tugging, the chaos of an animal fighting gravity. It never came. I unzipped the tent slowly and shined my flashlight toward the tree. The rope was still there. The branch was still there. The food bag was gone. Not torn down. Not ripped open. Gone. My chest tightened. I swung the light around the camp. Fast now, heart pounding. That's when I noticed my backpack. It was open. I knew it had been closed. I always close it. Habit drilled in from years of hiking. I knelt beside it and looked inside. Everything had been rearranged. Not rummaged. Not scattered. Arranged. My knife was placed on top, centered like an offering. My phone sat beside it, screen facing up. My spare socks, dirty from the hike, were folded neatly, edges lined up. I backed away so fast I tripped over a rock. That's when I smelled it. Dirt and old leaves. Damp. Sour. Like the underside of a log that hadn't been turned in years. Like someone who had been lying on the forest floor for a very long time. I didn't sleep again that night. I sat with my back against a tree, knife in my hand, flashlight off to save the battery. Every sound felt closer than it should have been. Every shadow felt intentional. When morning came, I almost cried with relief. Then I saw the tree. My food bag was hanging again, from a different tree. The rope was tied in a knot I didn't recognize. Not a simple loop. Not anything I'd learned. The knot looked practiced, old, like hands had tied it thousands of times before. I considered leaving right then. I didn't. Pride is a quiet killer. That night, I didn't even try to sleep. I kept the fire going and stared into the dark beyond the ring of light. The woods felt deeper now, thicker, like the darkness was leaning in, listening. Hours passed. Just before dawn, I heard breathing behind me. Slow, measured, curious. It wasn't loud. It didn't rush. It stayed just out of reach of the firelight, close enough that I could feel it on the back of my neck. I didn't turn around. I couldn't. I sat there, muscles screaming, knife clenched so tight my hand went numb. The breathing stayed for a long time. Then it stopped. When the sun finally rose, the forest looked normal again. Birds, wind, light cutting through branches. My camp was untouched, except for one thing. In the dirt beside my tent was a full-body impression. Shoulders, arms, legs, and a hollow where a head had rested, like someone had been lying there all night, listening to me breathe. Story 3. I've always believed that water remembers things. That idea didn't scare me until the night it remembered me. We drove for hours to reach the lake, one of those places that doesn't show up on most maps, surrounded by trees so thick they swallow daylight early. It was just me, my brother Cameron, and his girlfriend Sarah. No other cars, no distant campfires, no voices drifting through the woods. The kind of quiet that feels earned. We set up our tent near the shore. The lake was smooth as black glass, not even a ripple. I remember joking that it looked fake, like a stage prop. Cameron laughed. Sarah didn't. She kept glancing at the water like she expected it to blink. Around midnight, the temperature dropped fast. We crawled into the tent, zipped it tight, and lay there talking about nothing. Sleep was coming easy. Then the voice came. Help! It floated across the lake, clear and calm, like the woman wasn't panicking, just tired. We all sat up at once. Cameron whispered, "Did you hear that?" Before I could answer, the voice came again. "Please, closer now." Not louder, just nearer. Cameron grabbed his flashlight. Someone's out there, he said, already pulling on his boots. Something about the sound twisted my stomach. It didn't bounce off the water the way voices should. No echo, no direction. It felt like the sound slid straight into my head. Wait, I said, grabbing his arm. Listen. We went quiet. No splashing. No footsteps. Just the lake breathing softly. Then it said my name. Arslan, come here. I swear my heart stopped. Not because it knew my name, but because of how it said it. Same rhythm. Same softness. The exact way my mother used to call me inside when it got dark. My skin went cold, like something had crawled beneath it. Sarah started shaking. It's saying my name too, she whispered. Tears streamed down her face. But it sounded kind, like it cares. The voice moved, not walking, not swimming, circling. Sometimes it begged, sometimes it snapped, sometimes it laughed quietly, like it had told itself a joke we didn't understand. Arslan, don't be rude. Sarah, I'm cold. Cameron, you left me. Cameron covered his ears and rocked back and forth. I'd never seen fear like that on his face. Not raw panic, something deeper, like the voice was peeling him open. We didn't move. We didn't answer. We just listened as the thing learned us. Learned how to sound like what we missed, what we trusted. At exactly 4 a.m., it stopped. Not faded, not drifted away. Stopped, like someone flipping a switch. The silence after was worse than the voice. Morning came gray and sickly. None of us had slept. When we stepped outside, the lake looked normal again. Birds chirping, wind in the trees. That's when we saw the footprints. Bare feet, long, too long. They traced the shoreline in a slow circle around our camp. Then they walked straight into the lake. No marks coming back. We left everything, tent, food, gear. Drove home without a word. I don't camp near water anymore. And sometimes, late at night, my phone rings. No number, no voice, just breathing, waiting for me to answer.